Hey everybody, how's it going? B Temple back here again, and doing a little bit of a special ration review today. What we have here in front of us is I guess, original brown bag American MRE, or meal ready to eat. This is the first iteration of the American MRE ration itself. Before this ration came along, we would have had canned rations. So from the Vietnam era. MCIs they would have been called, and you would have went further back to the Korean conflict and World War II. It would have all been canned rations. What we have here is the first iteration of just a pouch with retort meals, and make everything a little bit more streamlined, less weight, and actually making it easier to eat on the go, not needing heating, all that kind of stuff. So what we have here is what's supposed to be an MRE made the same year I was born. So it's a little bit interesting. It's going to be, I'm curious to see if the components inside around what time of the year they were made. But this ration was made in 1984, apparently. We'll see, I guess, once we open it up. But it was apparently made in 1984, so it's going to be interesting to see if anything is actually still sensible inside the bag. So what we have here is actually a menu number 1. The text on the bag is a little hard to sort of pick out, especially in this light. It's faded a little bit, but it does say meal ready to eat individual menu number 1, and it's pork patty dehydrated with a accessory packet D. They had accessory packets A through D, made by the Right Away Food Corporation from McAllen, Texas. So, not a whole lot to this. It's, of course, just a regular single meal. MRE still exists today with the United States Armed Forces. And the bags have made a number of changes as the years have gone by. But this particular style lasted for several years. And if you ever search them up, these are sort of called the, the brown baggers, as it were. Went on the MREinfo.com website to sort of get a sense of what items might be in this bag, and I have a good idea of what I'm probably going to be getting here. Some of the items should actually still be very good, and maybe, depending on what it is we get, one of the items might actually not be very good at all. But I guess we'll find out as we go. So let's just tear into this thing and see what we're gonna be dealing with. It's got a rip already, a tear notch in the top. The MREs that we have today have just a peelable seal. You sort of peel it open, sort of like a like a bag of chips or something like that. It's a lot harder than opening up a bag of chips. But this just has a little tear notch on top. So we'll just tear into it. And this one doesn't really want to give, so I'm going to have to go get some sort of cutting device. So yeah, we'll just cut this from the back, make it a little bit easier. So first of all, let's give the ration a little bit of a smell on the inside to see what we're working with. Doesn't smell too bad. It's just got that sort of plasticky kind of deal going. So what items do we actually have here? We have, first of all, our accessory packet. And that's really hard to see, but it's coffee, cream substitute, sugar, ketchup, salt, chewing gum, matches, and toilet paper. And you can see with age, of course, the plastic here is delaminated a little bit, but everything inside should still be good. I don't see a date code on the accessory packet yet, but maybe some of the other items have it. We've got our old-fashioned MCI style spoon. So this is, of course, an older MRE. They hadn't gotten to the brown MRE spoons yet. So we've got our regular MCI spoon. We've got cookies, chocolate covered. And it looks like it's 2 of them and it's round. The ones we normally would get now, if they even get them at all, they're not made a whole lot anymore. They would be sort of a rectangular shape. What we have here is it's actually 2 round chocolate covered cookies. These are some of the best items ever in MREs, so this is a really good find to get that one. We've got ourselves a cocoa beverage powder in a brown pack. These would normally sometimes be seen in sort of an olive drab, sort of green kind of colored pouch. We've got our main meal. It's not particularly huge. It's actually only 1.2 ounces. Just barely picked that out. But this is a freeze-dried, cooked pork patty that you'll just sort of rehydrate with some hot water. Also got ourselves a packet of crackers. Vacuum seal seems to be really good on these. We have a box of applesauce, and inside this should be a retort pouch with applesauce. So there you have it. Now I didn't actually check to see any sort of date codes on here. Aha, here we have one date code. It's easy to pick up here. 4114 is what that says. So the 114th day of 1984. There's no date code on the cocoa beverage powder. There's no date code on the cookies. And I don't even see a date code on the main meal or the crackers. So that's probably the only date code we're going to find, actually, is the one on the applesauce. So it's the 114th day of 1984. It's not exactly close to my birthday, but mine will be a lot later in the year. And our last item we have is what's probably not going to be very good. I guess we'll see. Although it does feel like it's actually still fairly pliable. It at least hasn't turned into a brick yet. But we do have fortified cheese bread. And this is, of course, cheese bread that's a little over, 33 years. Almost 34 years old now. So, lay that aside. That'll go with the crackers or go into the garbage. We'll see. And that's all we've got. Got ourselves just an empty bag now. So, how are we going to go about this? I guess, first of all, let's just open up our main meal, which is our pork patty. And we'll probably get some hot water going for that and get that started. So, we'll just give this an open. Wasn't really a hiss or anything like that. And inside, we actually get this little sort of plastic pouch with a pork patty in it. And this is very oily. You can actually see the little bit of sheen that's coming off there on my fingers. Let's give that a smell first just to see how this is. Yeah, it's a little bit of a old books kind of smell, I guess is the best way to put it. So yeah, we're only going to need a little bit of hot water for this. And we'll just get some of that from the Keurig, I guess the easiest thing to do. And we'll be back in 1 second. Alright, and while we're waiting for that to sort of reconstitute and heat up, I guess we'll get everything else opened up and ready to go. So we have our little MCI spoon. Probably get our drink going next, I guess. So we've got our cocoa beverage powder. I'm going to mix this up cold, I think, today. Look for our tear notch. Trying to make too much mess, although it doesn't always work out that way. Seems to be in pretty good shape so far. That cocoa beverage powder looks like it's still pretty good. It's actually a nice smell coming off of that. There's no clumps or anything, so it doesn't seem like any moisture has gotten to it. And it doesn't smell too bad for what it is, for almost 34-year-old cocoa powder. Let's Pour a little bit of water in there. And let's give it a bit of a stir. Of course, seeing it's cold, it's going to be a little harder to mix up, but just let that lay off to the side for a second and make sure it sort of reconstitutes itself well. I guess next we can, let's just open up our accessory packet. See what we have. That's an interesting smell from the inside that accessory packet. It's a lot like old books, I guess is the best way to put it. So what do we have? We've got dehydrated ketchup, which oddly enough seems like actually seems like it's actually still powder. A lot of the times you see the reviews of these brown bag MREs and they actually get the ketchup and it's usually turned into almost like a putty, like tar kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting. See if I can actually try that out. See if I can get it to work. We've got ourselves a cream substitute, dry non-dairy, toilet paper, blue toilet paper like I had in my 1983 LRP review that I did a while back, which was totally gone. Got ourselves a little 6-gram pack of Amstar sugar. Coffee instant. So I'm going to assume this is just coffee instant type 1, I suppose. Although I could be wrong. And what else we have? We've got green packet of matches, white tips. And iodized salt with printing on it that looks like it was made by a typewriter. Get that to focus. And some green chiclets, which looks like they are in just perfect shape. So this is really interesting. I'm going to kind of lay most of this off to the side. Just probably leave the ketchup there. Now, I don't drink coffee, so I'm not going to need to prepare any of that. That'll just go into the random accessory bag I kind of have going. Next, we can open up the crackers, I guess. See how these have fared over time. See if we can get a hiss. I tell you, this plastic does not want to open. Oh, I've never actually seen these before. This is great. So we actually have our MRE crackers that are salted. The ones we get today have no salt on top, and these look and smell actually pretty good, and they are in absolutely perfect shape. I've had MREs from 2016 that have crackers that look worse than that. I'm going to leave the cheese spread for a second. Let's open up our dessert item, our chocolate covered cookies. These are absolutely amazing in the rectangular form. I've never actually had them in this form before. They should still be pretty good. And yeah, they look perfect. So it's actually just 2 chocolate cookies. They've sort of fused together over time. Yeah, they don't want to come apart. But anyway, we'll get to that now in a second. And open up our applesauce. Some of these brown bag MREs would have come with a bean component, they would have called it. For this one, they didn't choose to have that. They have a pouch of applesauce, and it's hard to get out because they ended up gluing them to the inside of the bags. So a little bit of glue still left there. But we do have a packet of just a retort pouch of applesauce, and this looks very similar to what you would find in a modern MRE today to have it, well, they still come with applesauce sometimes. And a lot of the mains, of course, come in pouches like this. And as it says here, 4 114. So the 114th day, 1984. So let's open this up and get it out into one of the sections of the tray and see how it's looking after all this time. It actually smells very good. Surprised by that. And they give you quite a lot of it. It's actually 4.5 ounces of applesauce, which is, I think, a bit more than what you probably get today in the rations. What do we have left? Well, we've got our cheese spread. So let's just open that up and have a look at how it actually is. Most of the time, cheese spread this age, it's going to be like gray. It's the best probably the word to describe it, but we'll find out. Yeah, that's, you can sort of see it there. It's a great deal of oil separation. It's kind of gotten brown over time, and it's still cheesy, but it's also giving off that dirty, wet feet kind of smell as well. So yeah, this is always just one of those things. If this had come with peanut butter or jam, it would be perfectly fine, but you know, there's no way I'm going to eat cheese spread from 1984. That's just not happening, especially the way that this smells and the way this looks. I don't need to go to the hospital today, so we'll just lay that off to the side. We'll get the tray cleaned up a little bit, and then we'll bring back our sort of main item. So we drained off the water, and this is our reconstituted pork patty, and I must say it does not look particularly appetizing, and it doesn't really smell overly appetizing either. So this is going to be interesting to see how it goes. Yeah, so let's just get right into it. Give our cocoa powder another stir, so we can use our spoon. Now this is supposed to be one of the mains that actually holds up pretty well over time. But before I do that, I'm going to have a look at our ketchup. As you can see as I open it, a little bit of powder kind of comes out. When we look inside, we actually have this white and red powder. Usually most of the time this looks almost like black tar. I'm going to pour a little bit of this out into this section of the tray. And as you can see, this is perfect. I think this is the only time in all of the ration reviews I've watched of brown bag MREs where I've gotten a ketchup that actually looks perfect. So let's just pour a little tiny bit of water in there with that. Let's give it a little mix. And there you have it. Ketchup from 1984. And just tasting a little bit that was left on the spoon, that tastes just like ketchup chips that you would be able to buy in shops here in Canada right now. Ketchup's more of a standard flavor for chips in Canada than compared to the United States, but yeah, that doesn't taste like normal sort of regular bottled Heinz or French's ketchup right now. It's a little bit more tart, a little bit more vinegary, I guess, but yeah, it tastes just like ketchup chips. I can't believe that. That's amazing. So let's try a little bit of our pork patty. But before I do that, I will be remiss if I didn't send out a big, huge thanks to the person that I guess sent this MRE to me. This MRE came from Steve 1989, who is one of the kings of the ration review community, and Steve's a fantastic guy. We do a lot of trades, and he I guess must have either knew somebody who had this or had one of these in his possession and knew it was from '84, knew that was the year I was born, and said that it should have been stored in very good condition and would make for a great review. So once again, thank you very much, Steve, for sending this along to me, and I'm amazed actually, at least by the visual quality of everything that's here so far. We'll see what the tasting is like now. So yeah, let's just try out our pork patty on its own, just a little tiny bit. Like I said, it doesn't have a great smell. It's a little bit of a freeze-dried pork patty that's been reconstituted in some hot water. Yeah, that almost made me gag. Oh. Yeah. The smell goes along with it, I guess is the best way to put it. It doesn't smell very good at all, and it just, I don't know. I can't place how to describe how bad that tasted, but sort of put it in your mouth and chew a little bit and trying to figure out basically what's going on there. And then after a while, it just kind of, oh god, it just, yeah, it tastes like you're eating old books, and that's not good. I was hoping to be able to sort of try it out with a little bit of ketchup, but I guess that's just not going to happen. I guess we'll try some of our cracker, and I tried to cleanse my palate with this cocoa beverage powder. If anyone remembers watching my 1983 LRP review, that cocoa powder was horrible. It smelled like bleach and tasted like bleach. This is actually pretty good. It's still a little bit of clumps in it, obviously, since we use cold water instead of hot water, but it's actually pretty good cocoa powder. It tastes like standard American MRE cocoa, which is pretty good for something that's that age. Let's give our cracker a try. Of course, remember, these are the salted top crackers, which we don't have anymore. And it looks really good. Smells really good. And let's just give it a taste on its own. Oh, that's amazing. That tastes like just a perfect, fresh, old-fashioned saltine, I guess is the best way to put it. If you like something like Premium Plus crackers that happen to have salt on them, it tastes almost exactly like that. Perfectly crisp, light and airy, a little bit of buttery actually, and the salt on it makes these a million times better than the standard MRE crackers that we get today. Too bad I don't really have anything to go with it. I suppose I could be weird, I guess, and try it with some ketchup on it. It's the only way we're going to eat this ketchup, and I can't let this go the waste, seeing it's actually something that ended up being good and passable. So here we go, a bit of MRE cracker with some ketchup. It still boggles my mind how amazing that is. Thanks again, Steve, for sending me a brown bag MRE that actually had a passable, not even passable, amazing, perfectly fresh, seemingly perfectly fresh ketchup packet. I'm amazed. I can't believe that. So I'm obviously not going to eat it all right now, but all those crackers and all that ketchup's going to disappear very soon. So really all we have left, I mean, I've talked about the cocoa powder. It looks good, smells good, tastes great. It's got a wonderful consistency. It doesn't have that sort of bleachy, rancid sort of undertone that you would get from something that's probably gone bad over time. All we have left are our dessert items. So let's just try our applesauce. I guess it's certainly oxidized over time. It's a lot darker than you would probably expect, but it looks very good. Smells perfectly fine. Smells just like any sort of applesauce you would get today. So let's give it a try. Oh, wow. Once again, very, very surprised by that. That's perfect. It's a little disconcerting or off-putting when you really stop and think about it, that this applesauce is almost 34 years old. This ketchup, crackers, all this stuff, cocoa powder. It's as old as I am, or even a little bit older. And yet it's still perfectly fine. Oh yeah, I'm gonna finish that applesauce for sure. There's no way I can't finish that. That's amazing. That tastes like brand new, fresh applesauce. The only thing that would make you sort of wonder about that would be the fact it's gotten a little bit darker, but it doesn't change anything at all. That's amazing. So what we have left, we've got our venerable, highly touted chocolate-covered cookies, which are one of the best items that were ever put into a American ration, and something that you don't find anymore. So I do have a little piece sort of broken off here. Let's give that a little try first. As you can see, the chocolate's still got a nice sheen to it. Looks brand new. And that's really not that bad. be good if I could somehow get those apart. But to take the next bite, I guess I'm going to have to just force myself to bite through both of them. So yeah, let's give it a nice bigger bite, get a nice full mouthful. It's not 100% perfect. I'd say the chocolate in that, I'm going to assume it's going to be the chocolate and not the cookie itself, feels like it's just lingering on the point of starting to go bad. Get that little tiny, like the only faintest hint of rancidity in the background. But nothing bad. It's not like your tongue's going numb or, you know, something feels like it's burning or whatever. It doesn't taste like bleach. It just has that very sort of slight, like, you know that not too long from now it's actually going to start going bad. But that's still perfectly fine. You know, these are something that you wish to be able to find all the time in rations, and to be able to have something like this from the year I was born and have almost all of it perfectly edible, that's amazing. I don't often do this in my reviews because, well, it's gum, so you don't really need to review gum very much, but seeing how everything else seemed very, very good, I'm going to at least give these spearmint chiclets a try. Either to see how hard they are or if they're still, you know, passable. Oh God, I don't think I chipped my tooth, but oh my, it came very close. That was just like trying to bite into a rock. But once you get through it, it is a very nice, pleasant spearmint flavor, I must say. It's a nice sort of palate cleanser at the end. So yeah, usually we don't review the gum because it's really just gum. But that's actually pretty good, aside from the fact that it's hard as a rock. But I suppose when you're trying gum that's almost 34 years old, what can you really expect, I guess? So here we have it, guys. This has been a brown bag, United States MRE, menu number 1, pork patty dehydrated from 1984. And I can honestly say that aside from the main item, which I don't know, maybe it was something that was never particularly great, but that didn't really stand the test of time. Everything else is amazing. I'd give everything here either a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. So I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by, giving this review a watch, and leave a comment below if you like, you know, thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. And looking to come back to you soon with another review. What I'm thinking is it's probably going to be another 24-hour ration, and I've got a nice Swedish one in the collection that I've been eyeing for a while, so I think that one's next up in the queue. So yeah, thanks a lot for stopping by. Have a good one.